Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, the 14th day of August. The year is 2017, and if you can hear the sound of my voice, you are the revolution. I am Revolutionary Warrior number 1, General of the Save the World Army, Smokin' Joe McHale, and I would like to welcome you to day 337 of Operation Save the World. We are live from beautiful Sydney, Australia, and this is the Save the World Army live daily news, smashing through the lies of the Illuminati, smashing through the lies of the New World Order, and smashing through the lies of the government who are escalating their attacks against humanity every single day. But even though they are escalating their attacks against us, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare be sour. Join the Save the World Army and feel the power. Yes, 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 I have the power, you have the power, we have the power, humanity has the power, and we have to use that power, the power of love, to beat the Illuminati, to break the New World Order, to bring down the world government, and to save the world from evil. Because we know that the only way to save the human race from slavery is to bring down the government that is enslaving us. Thank you all so much for joining me on this beautiful August afternoon. Revolutionary Warrior 26, the Duchess, Revolutionary Sergeant 40, Sin City Jason, Revolutionary Sergeant 176, Spartacus 777, Mo Martinez 110. Thank you all for tuning in. Spartacus says, yo brother. Sin City Jason says, yo Joe. Duchess says, hey Joe, had a bad day. You always cheer me up though. Doing my best, Duchess. And Sin City Jason says, it'll be okay, Tasha. Yeah, like Bob Marley said, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be all right. And I know how you feel, even though I may not know your personal circumstances. We are all facing incredible challenges in our lives. And it's the idea of the enemy to break us down, to make us give up, to make us just sell out and pretend that what they're doing isn't happening, that they're not poisoning the entire world, that they're not killing the entire human race. They want us to feel down. We can't let them do that. We have to lift each other up and really raise our vibrations in order to defeat this evil system, and that's what we're going to do. You lift me up. Thank you all so much for your support. The Duchess says, thanks Jason. He says, that's cool. Spartacus says, life will be better when the weak die off. I don't know about that, man. Life will be better when we get rid of this sick, satanic slavery system. Our first article today from activistpost.com, The Power of No, by Julian Rose, July 31, 2017. When one feels and witnesses the crushing effect of the status quo on all sentient elemental life forms, as well as on the great majority of human beings, one eventually reaches the point of saying no. Enough. Saying no comes before saying yes, in the context of putting a brake on the slide into slavery currently besetting a great proportion of mankind. There comes a moment in nearly everybody's life when one makes a stand against some intolerable treatment which is being meted out by the forces of control and subversion. Almost any incident could spark off the resistance, stifling and stultifying bureaucracy, the crazy behavior of a neighbor, criminal bank charges, the dictatorial behavior of the boss at work, any and all ways where the law is treated as a blunt instrument of repression. They all have a common source which centers around the deliberately oppressive, competitive structure built into our post-industrial, westernized societies. One that crushes the humanity out of people. Although external in nature, the pressure builds and builds internally until something gives and one finally says no. No more. Sin City Jason says, Duchess, at least it's the Germans this time. And she says she's shipping back to the fatherland. Is that Deutschland? Spartacus says, I'm proud of the white supremacist protest. We are fighting BK. I don't know what BK means, and I'm not sure if I understand you. I know you're not a white supremacist, Spartacus. And Duchess says, WTF? Spartacus says, Sin City Jason says, make sure it's a Wolfsburg and not a Puebla. And she says it is. And I don't know what you guys are talking about. No sprechen Sie Deutsch. Regardless, that point when you say no more, that is a key moment and can turn the tide of one's life. However, the sense of liberation can be short-lived as further repressive elements are quick to occupy the void unless one quickly fills it oneself with something that goes beyond the purely personal, something that reaches out compassionately into the greater world. And the Duchess says, my car blew up, Joe. It's German. What kind of car was it? A Mercedes? Spartacus says it means back. The Jews control everything. They do control a massive part of the financial and governmental evil all over the world. Sin City Jason says, I'm trying to cheer her up, Joe. It's her car. I think you're doing a good job, brother. And Worst Critic 1. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see how much of a critic you are. Here is where the power of no is especially needed today. We have to recognize our innate connection with all mankind as well as the natural environment. And we have to take a stand which reflects full-on resistance to that which is continuously undermining the quality of life on this planet. Indeed, its very survival. Spartacus says, his car's German. Lol. Because without such determination, we will all sink into the cesspit of absolute submission to the deep state and its centralized control system, which unceasingly seeks to dominate every artery of life on this planet. For those who have gained enough awareness to recognize this deception, lies and villainy playing out their course right in our midst, there can be no excuse for not adopting a position of defiance and determination to play one's part in stopping the rot. I know how easy it is to read hundreds of articles like this and to get a temporary jolt each time, but still never actually take a stand, never really stand up to be counted, never light that fire which pulls one out of one's set routine and plunges one into the battle. It starts by saying no to the slippery slide of slavery. A slide which has been so well prepared to capture all who allow themselves the seeming luxury of ineptitude at a time of deep crisis. But to take this stand and to deliver, based on one's own sense of urgency, to speak and act the truth, is an imperative which enriches our lives beyond recognition. The Duchess, Spartacus says, my car's German. Duchess says, I'm going to blame it on the Jews. Haha. Sin City Jason says, only German cars punish their owners. To know one has been caught in the tentacles of the superstate's ubiquitous web and to act on that knowledge truly does lead on to individual emancipation. And, more importantly, it puts us in touch with fellow conscious beings who are already on the road which leads out of slavery and into taking full responsibility for their actions. It demonstrates a real determination to fully support that which nourishes, rather than continues to starve our beleaguered earth. I'm going to have some fluoride-free water here. Cheers to victory, brothers and sisters. Oh yeah. Sin City Jason says, it's not the Jews, it's specific families. Please don't take this the wrong way. I was born Jewish. I'm not evil. I feel you, Sin City Jason. And I do feel all of these religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, are just made to control people and keep them submissive, keep them following what they're told to do, keep them following the clergy or the rabbi or the imam, getting them to follow these fairy tales and to disregard the incredible tyranny that we are under. We have to smash through all of those deceit systems. Here can be found the foundation of a new society, a steady coalescing people's movement which will collectively enable us to control our destinies and free this planet from its demonic overlords. Overlords who we have allowed to suck on our spontaneous creativity, passion, and love until it virtually runs dry. The first big no leads directly to an even bigger yes. To living out our true nature as conscious beings, defenders and guardians of this richly endowed place of beauty in which we find ourselves. You see, there is nowhere else to go with our lives. Those of us who understand are in the last line of defense to bring an end to the top-down despotic rape of all that of which has value, of everything sacred. We are here for this purpose. It is our prime mission. Everything else is diversion or denial. Spartacus says it's not all Jews, but they hide behind the real Jews. That's the sick part. There are no good Jews. And Sin City Jason says agreed, but we can't blame an entire people for only a small example of humanity. That's what has been going wrong lately, divide and conquer, hating one another. Exactly. Like Bob Marley said, they don't want to see us unite. All they want us to do is keep on fussing and fighting. They don't want to see us live together. All they want us to do is keep on killing one another. Man, there are so many ways you can break this down, and you could say anyone who follows Judaism is evil. Anyone who follows Christianity is evil. Anyone who follows Islam is evil. You can say all these things, and in a way, you're correct. They're following an evil thought structure, a slavery, master-slave system. Then you can say anyone who's not a vegan is evil. Then you can go on and say, if you don't do this, you're an evil person. Look, man, none of us are perfect. Man, I'm far from perfect. We have to do our best to reach out, because in the end, we're all human. And if people have been deceived by these thought control, mind control systems, we've got to do whatever we can to reach out to them and break that mind control. That's what I'm doing right here. I'm reaching out to you, and I thank you for reaching out to others every single day. The Duchess says, this whole violence over a stupid statue had me really perplexed. Is it worth lives over a piece of history? I know some of this story. I'm not particularly familiar with it. Sin City Jason says, and I do believe you're wrong. I know a fair amount of evil Christians, evil Muslims, evil Hindus, and people in general do not get behind the rhetoric of anti-Semitism. We got to break down all of these mind control systems instead of saying it's one particular group. That's my point. And Twisted Mystery, thank you for joining us. We are living in an apocalyptic and epoch-changing moment of evolution. But beware, for there are many voices telling us to just sit back and watch it happen. And these are the pseudo-spiritual messengers of destruction, not the longed-for guides of higher emancipation that they claim to be. They are deceivers who play on a narcissistic tendency in the human race to only look out for one's own interests and try to ignore the plight of the greater life sphere. They are key accomplices of the vampiric, heartless overlords that hold this world to ransom. No, we are by now wise enough to see through their devious ways and to reject the poisoned call for self-satisfied and self-centered passivity. We are called upon to go forward with courage, cutting through the stupor of a sedated society, answering the call of our divine origins, a call to action, a call which starts with no, yet transforms into yes. Yes to joining in unity with all others who share a common commitment to truth expressed in thought, word and deed. And I express to you doubly, triply, quadruply, quintuply fold, I express to you to the highest heavens that I'm doing my absolute best to bring this evil system down. And I thank you for having the courage to do the right thing every single day. And I'll tell you what, they're going to push this scumbag, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, to become president. If not in 2020, in 2024, whatever. Oh, this is so disgusting. This article from antimedianews.com, Dwayne The Rock Johnson exposes Hollywood pedophilia on live TV. Anti-Media News. He didn't expose pedophilia, he exposed himself as a promulgator of pedophilia and a purveyor of putrid poison. It's truly disgusting. This scumbag, the highest paid actor in the world, supposedly this big macho man, is nothing but a coward, disgusting, evil scumbag who has sold out the human race for fame and fortune and power. July 30, 2017. Did you guys see this absolute disgusting piece of television telling lies to your vision? Check it out on YouTube or some other propaganda outlet if you haven't seen it yet. On SNL, this idiot, The Rock, was pretending to be a mad scientist in some comedy skit, and he went on to say that he invented a child molesting robot. Mainlining pedophilia, mainstreaming pedophilia, and they want him to go out and say this stuff, and they say, hey, look, you say this stuff, we're going to push you as the presidential candidate. And of course, he's nothing but a suck-up, a sycophant, a truly sick individual. Pro wrestler turned movie star Dwayne The Rock Johnson has lifted the lid on elite Hollywood pedophile rings during a shocking performance on live TV. Johnson's performance on the show, that also included Katy Perry making subtle references to satanic symbolism, and a sketch that included the statement, "Hail Satan," has caused massive outrage from viewers. The same episode also included a segment that made reference to Hillary Clinton being connected to a Washington, D.C. pedophile ring, and included jokes about pizza. So they're joking about this out in the open, making fun of the incredibly evil acts they're doing to these poor children, and I'm always going to stand up and do my best to expose what's happening to these innocent people. Sin City Jason says, just goes to show that all of these actors are controlled, just like the politicians. Exactly. If you want to make it in Hollywood, if you want to make it in the movie industry, if you want to make it in politics, you got to bow down to the satanic scumbags that think they run the world. During a scene on Saturday Night Live, Johnson played the role of a mad scientist who proclaimed to have come up with an invention that would help pedophiles abuse children more efficiently. This truly made my stomach turn when I saw this video, and it's doing the same now. He then goes on to say that his, quote, child molesting robot, unquote, can, quote, molest twice as many children as a human child molester, end quote. Sin City Jason says, I've seen it. Amazing how stupid they think we are. Man, a lot of people are that stupid. And when that scumbag The Rock runs for president, so many idiots are going to vote for him. People love him. He then goes on to explain to the other mad scientists in the scene that he wanted to create the most evil invention in the world by inventing a robot that sexually abuses children. The show faced a huge backlash, mainly due to the lack of clarity in Johnson's motives behind the sketch. His motives are clear: to serve his satanic overlords and to mainstream pedophilia. The majority of viewers were left in shock by the performance, branding it as a sick joke that made light of a very serious issue. The show was slammed on Twitter by angry viewers who used social media to vent their disgust following the show's airing. One user, Dana, said, "A child molesting robot? Who the hell even thinks this is funny? Who the hell wrote this? This is disgusting." Another furious viewer took to Twitter saying, "Really, SNL? How on earth did that pedophile robot sketch make it to air? Just gross and pointless. Disappointed in The Rock for doing it." And you can see all over mainstream media, in the music industry, they're pushing pedophilia, sexualizing children. It is truly disgusting. It is truly evil. They want this to be the norm. We have to push back. We cannot allow it. We have to fight back for those who cannot fight for themselves. We must have the courage to do the right thing. And Kyle Animal Phillips, thank you for joining us. Spartacus says, "That is the future, not if I can help it, my brother." Although many viewers were disgusted by the nature of the pedophile sketch, many believe Johnson may have been attempting to shine a light on the elite Hollywood pedophilia. No way, he's just proving he's one of them. Those who have come forward to expose the rampant problem of pedophile rings in Tinseltown have stopped short of naming names due to fear of repercussions. Corey Feldman has perhaps been the most outspoken, claiming that child abusing older males are everywhere in Hollywood, saying that he and his best friend Corey Haim were sexually abused by major movie moguls. Elijah Wood also stated that Hollywood is controlled by elite pedophiles who groom children for powerful pedophilia networks. Was Dwayne Johnson also attempting to expose the problem of pedophilia amongst America's elite? No. There was also another sketch The Rock did where he said, "Hail Satan," and also with his work with the WWE, another satanic organization, it's clear which path he has chosen. He has chosen the dark side. Sin City Jason says, if he becomes a politician or the president of the United States, I'm going radical. This is sick, and the elites must be brought to their knees. Tell you what I'm going to do. And this is a long-term... A lot of people would say it's a crazy plan. But then again, a lot of people said it was a crazy plan when I said I was going to break the Guinness World Record for the longest DJ set in history. It was a crazy plan. But because I had dedication, determination, and discipline, the longest marathon club DJing was achieved by Smoking Joe McHale at the Empire Hotel in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia on 22 December 2012. That was a crazy idea, man. Tell you, here's another crazy idea. I love Jiu-Jitsu, been training for over 2 years now. Many of you can see these medals. Many of you know I love competing. Was able to win the state championship in no-gi last year. I'm going to be moving to training MMA as well. And my DJ career has been massively affected because of my activism. A lot of clubs, a lot of places don't want to book me anymore. A lot of promoters told me straight up, not going to book you anymore because of your protests, what you did on Anzac Day especially. I'm still DJing. I'm going up to Coffs Harbour to DJ this weekend. So if anyone's on the north coast of New South Wales, check it out on Friday and Saturday. I'm DJing up on the Coffs Coast. But I'm also transitioning to becoming a fighter. And I'm going to do my best, like I did with DJing. I'm going to piggyback off my DJing to get more attention for my activism. I'm going to piggyback off my fighting career to get more attention for my activism. And also, I love training jiu-jitsu. I love getting beat up. I love how tough it makes you. I recommend everybody learn the martial arts and the martial sports. And also, it's an incredible endeavor, I think, just to learn martial arts. And that's why I'm going to go ahead with that. Anyway, when I make it to the UFC, I'm going to call out this scumbag, The Rock, when I get interviewed after a victory in the UFC. And I'm going to be in the 125-pound flyweight division, and he's more than 250 pounds. But like breaking the Guinness World Record, it's a crazy idea. But like breaking the Guinness World Record, I did it. Anyway, that's one thing I'm doing. So this article about The Rock reminded me about that. Sin City Jason says, I already read that. Spartacus says, the Jesuits created Islam. Yes. Remember that the hoax is fake. Yes. Carl says, good-ish. The Duchess says, my kid has been a white belt for a year now. I told him he needs to go every day like you. Yeah, you got to go every day. I recommend going every day. You feel good training every day, choking people every day, learning how to defend yourself. It's a great feeling. And Majid Mo 99, thank you for joining us. Some experts take a different view and believe Johnson's performance and the entire content of the show was designed to normalize pedophilia. Judith Reisman, the principal expert investigator for a U.S. Justice Department study on child sex abuse, warns that the episode of SNL used the same strategy that pedophilia advocates use to convince the nation's public that sexual activity between adults and children of almost any age is, quote, normal. Dr. Reisman recently attended a symposium held by the, quote, minor attracted people. That's a euphemism if I've ever heard one. Minor attracted people, more like putrid, pencil-necked, pot-bellied pedophiles. Advocacy group B4U Act to disseminate, quote-unquote, accurate information on the position that pedophilia is just one more alternative sexual orientation. And you can see this in the mainstream media. They're slowly pushing pedophilia as just another LGBTP. Spartacus says, Sin City Jason says, Spartacus, you know that the Jesuits are an early Christian sect. The governments of the world have just as much to do with that as religion does. You were pushing a lot of rhetoric. And Spartacus says, did you know The Rock is not biology? A man, that's why they say stuff like that. The elite are cloned. That'd be interesting, man. Because I've looked at a lot of transvestigations, and there are some straight up that look like they're straight up trannies, like Jessica Alba and a bunch of other ones. But that's a difficult one, The Rock, because he's 6'5", whatever, jacked more than 99.999% of the men on Earth, and he's super bald. But hey man, crazier things have happened. You might be right. But anyway, he's nothing but a punk, and I'm gonna put the pebble in his place. You're looking at the real people's champ right here. And Sin City Jason said, perhaps, and Spartacus says, I'm sorry, Sin City Jason, I'm just saying the truth, brother. And yeah, we're not all going to agree on everything, but it's good to hear different opinions. Sin City Jason said, now that's the craziest thing I've heard, The Rock being a tranny, a female to male tranny. That puts a different spin on the phrase Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Oh my goodness. Further, a campaign that was backed by British Prime Minister Theresa May was launched in the UK to allow convicted pedophiles to adopt children, since depriving them of that privilege could, quote unquote, breach their human rights. Quote, there is no reason why all sex offenders should not be considered as potentially suitable to adopt or foster children or work with them, end quote, said an advocate. How crazy is that? And the Duchess says, I met China before. She seemed questionable, but whatever, lol. The ninth wonder of the world. Yeah, very questionable, to say the least, Duchess. And Spartacus says, truth, no hate, brother. I just do deep research. I think that's why pedophilia will get legalized. I don't want to live here anymore. I know how it's crazy, man, but they want to make us give up and ship off to the middle of the bush. I know you're not going to do that, man. We're never going to do it. We got to stick together and bring down these putrid, pestiferous, pusillanimous, Procrustean, pot-bellied, pencil-necked, propaganda-pushing pedophiles. We're going to do it, my man. We're doing it together. And you're right. You're so right. And anyway, here's another article about The Rock quickly. I'm not going to read the whole thing. And on SNL again, The Rock says he's running for president. Of course, this is a joke, but it's predictive programming, getting people ready. Independent.co.uk, SNL finale, Dwayne The Rock Johnson announces presidential run with Tom Hanks as running mate. And I'm not even going to read this article. Let me read maybe, I don't know, a sentence or two. Thanks to his... Ever since ex-apprentice host Donald Trump managed to become president of the United States, people have been wondering which celebrity will run for the Democrats' next election. Thanks to his immense popularity, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's name has been thrown around by numerous people, many hoping the Fast and Furious 8 star will actually enter the contest. Hosting Saturday Night Live for the 5th time, The Rock officially announced he would run for president, choosing a wonderful running partner, Tom Hanks. In the past, quote, in the past, I would have never thought of running for president, said Johnson during the opening monologue, but now I'm actually worried I'm too qualified, end quote. Sin City Jason says, Spartacus, you're looking at it from a religious side instead of an evil elitist problem, though. I'm just trying to keep it real, that's all. Yeah. Man, it's so crazy, this rabbit hole, and the further you research, it's only going to get crazier. So, once again, we don't agree on everything, but I'm so glad we're in this fight together. And the Duchess says, OMG, she's dead. Yeah, I think she died a few years ago. This is stupid. From commercialrealestate.com.au, Chinese mall installs husband storage pods to ease the boredom while wives shop. Further emasculating men. They're just accessories to their women while they go shopping. July 18, 2017 by Madeline Wedsweiler. A Chinese shopping mall has come up with a novel solution to entertain bored husbands. Glass husband storage pods have been installed at the Global Harbour Mall in Shanghai, according to Chinese state-run news site The Paper. Each of the 4 pods is a miniature video games centre for husbands that don't want to be dragged around while their wives shop. The pods feature a chair, monitor, computer, game controllers, so men can sit and play retro games such as Tekken 3. The service is currently free, but staff have said they are looking at monetizing it in the future, potentially with users scanning a QR code on their phone to transfer payment. Billboards in the shopping centre have been advertising the pods over the past month. A few men that tried out the pods told The Paper that they thought they were a novel idea and that they preferred the pods to other shopping centre distractions. One shopper, Mr. Wu, said he thought the husband rest cabin was a fantastic idea. I do not like to accompany my girlfriend shopping, so whenever we go out shopping, I will look for a movie to see or find a place to eat and sit, he said, according to the Telegraph. But others lamented the fact that the pods have no air conditioning or airflow and that they became very sweaty after playing the game. Just making people more retarded. That's what they want. Spartacus says, well, I like the gatekeeping. I try to wake people up by the elite Hollywood trainings that people worship. Sad but true, religion is gatekeeping, brother. To legalize is sick. I agree with you as well. Sin City Jason says, Spartacus, by the way, I'm not mad. It's just what they want. I hate you because you're this way, or I hate you because you're that way. All humanity can unite. It has to be universal. Love is the only way. You're exactly right. I believe that love is the answer. I believe that love will find a way. The Duchess says, reminds me of the Dead Mall stuff, Jason. Spartacus says, I was just giving out examples, brother. If I drank fluoride, I still believe the TV. I would have hate and not think of many ways to control oneself. Exactly. Much love to all of you guys, and thanks for reminding me to have some fluoride-free water. From activistpost.com. Facial recognition ID moves from planes and trains to conferences and events. By Nicholas West, August 4, 2017. Sin City Jason says, corral the minds of the weak. And he says, yes, Duchess. The use of biometric identification is becoming a real-time case study in how the public is incrementally conditioned to accept the total erosion of privacy for supposed convenience and security. As I've been covering over the last several months, a 15-year-old mandate from the federal government to implement biometric ID for airline travel is finally being implemented at various airports throughout the United States. Meanwhile, countries like Australia and the UK also have airport biometrics programs rolling out, with Australia seeking to make it a requirement nationwide by 2020. The UK has even gone one step further and has been testing a system to be used on trains as well, also with a target date somewhere around 2020. People have been acclimatized to biometric ID in various forms, with increasing frequency in the areas of banking and personal computing, but only now is it being rolled out into the wider world. In some cases, the use of facial recognition for targeted advertising and even to monitor political views and for pre-crime policing has been done in public spaces without any consent whatsoever. The Duchess says, I went to my mall the other day and really noticed just how bad it got. Even Best Buy's shelves were sparse and they wouldn't make any deals. You can get everything online for a fraction of their price. Yeah, they are looking to shut down as many retailers as possible. And the depression is coming, the engineered depression. The Duchess says they seem like they will be their own demise. And Sin City Jason agrees with you. According to Mass Private Eye, a company called Zenus is at the forefront of spreading facial recognition even wider into conferences and events. It heralds the next step toward increasingly pervasive biometric ID requirements to function in modern society. Zenus, a startup company based in Texas, claims their facial recognition software can speed up check-ins at conferences and events. Quote, attendees have registered for a conference ahead of time, providing pertinent personal information and uploading a photo. On site at the conference, that person steps up to a device, usually a tablet, where a camera scans the person's face, using the image to call up her information and completing the check-in process digitally. End quote. And Spartacus says the chip is next. You can already see how they're rolling out the chip. We have to push back. At the Zenus website, we find a video which makes a direct appeal to convenience and security by databasing attendees with facial recognition as well as social media logins, illustrating how the virtual world and the real are melding into one and the same thing. Step by step, people are being transformed into digital organisms, made easier for scanning and processing. The political will is there, the databases exist, and the technology is clearly being rolled out across every meaningful area of human activity. And even, I remember years and years ago, DJing at clubs, everyone who lined up at the club had to go line up, get their photo taken for the facial recognition system. And if you had, been kicked out of a bunch of clubs before, you would be banned from all of the clubs in the Sydney area. It's crazy. Luckily, as a DJ, I could skip that whole thing, but that's not the point. I like this article. A bit of good news amongst all the disaster. Never hurt anybody. Countercurrent news.info. Science says smoking a joint daily, even for decades, no bad effects on your lungs. August 1, 2017. By Think Progress. Evolving attitudes about marijuana among the majority of Americans, as well as decriminalization laws starting to sweep the nation, have done little to quell questions about the health effects of long-time use among medical professionals, lawmakers, and people on both sides of an ongoing debate about the plant. Even with a dearth of research, the general consensus in past decades has been that smoking marijuana regularly poses significant health risks. A new study out of Emory University in Atlanta, however, could challenge what has become the fundamental argument for maintaining the plant's designation as a Schedule I drug. Lifetime marijuana use up to 20 joint years is not associated with adverse changes in spirometric exhalation strength measures of lung health. The study, featured in the medical journal Annals of the American Thoracic Society, concluded. In an effort to measure marijuana's impact on lung function, researchers used data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Surveys to conduct a cross-sectional analysis measuring participants' forced expiratory volume, defined as the amount of air one can forcibly exhale in 1 second. They found that adults between the ages of 18 and 59 who smoke one marijuana cigarette, also known as a joint, per day had the same expiratory volume as someone who didn't partake in the plant. The data collected suggests that it's unlikely that prolonged marijuana use would cause respiratory diseases in a way that smoking tobacco would. While researchers at Emory University found that marijuana users who smoked joints reported coughing and having a sore throat, symptoms of bronchitis, they attributed that to the use of rolling papers, especially since those who used vaporizers reported similar problems less often. Spartacus says, we was kangs. We are more than kings. We are warriors, my brother. The results of the Emory University study bear a striking similarity to previous research about marijuana's effects on lung function. In 2012, government researchers found that people who smoked pot daily for 7 years didn't damage their lungs in a manner similar to that of tobacco smokers. A 2013 study conducted by Donald Tashkin, a professor at the University of California, Los Angeles, who has led long-term studies on the effects of tobacco inhalation, also confirmed that marijuana use alone didn't cause significant abnormalities to the lungs. And of course, cigarettes are legal. They add 599 chemicals to cigarettes. I've seen the PDF, look it up yourself. And when you ignite that thing, it goes to more than 4,000 chemicals. But weed is good for you, doesn't cause any health problems, and weed is illegal because it has so many health benefits. We know that marijuana is the miracle medicine that manages a myriad of maladies. We know that cannabis cures cancer. That's why the government keeps it illegal. Or they make it a little bit legal. They decriminalize. They say, oh, you can get weed if you go to a doctor or if you go to a certain dispensary where they tax it. Everybody has the right to grow their own. Everybody has the right to do whatever they want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. And Spartacus says, looking at evolution, we didn't come from blacks. I don't believe in evolution, my man. Darwinian evolution is a fraud. Sin City Jason says, no tar and 5,000 chemicals, just a bit of ash, and use a glass pipe or a bong if paper is a problem. All day, every day, my brother. The distinction the Emory University study makes is not new. Alan St. Pierre, Executive Director of the National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws, told Think Progress. It's ripe with citations from Donald Tashkin, who has spent more than 40 years trying to answer the question of what happens to people when they smoke tobacco and marijuana. This new study took things further. Today, these products aren't being smoked in a way that the product is carbonized and there's ash. Putting marijuana in your lungs is not the healthiest decision you can make, but it's stark compared to the damage being done by tobacco. While these findings could be used to support decriminalization and legalization efforts, issues about other health consequences of pot use, and particularly how it affects long-term brain function in adolescents and fertility in men, remains unsettled, especially in light of research published on these matters. And the Duchess says states are suing Big Pharma for the opioid crisis they helped create. What a joke. It's all a big joke, getting people hooked on these painkillers, these opioids that they're growing in Afghanistan and in other places where they have these conflicts all over the world. It's a sick system, and we're bringing that system down. Sin City Jason says, yes, Duchess. My brothers and sisters, thank you so much for all of your support. I'll be back tomorrow. This video will be on Instagram for the next 24 hours. After that, it'll be on YouTube at youtube.com/c/the Save the World Army. Also, please follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/SaveWorldArmy. Also, please join the brand new social media network I created at thesavetheworld.army. And if you want to get a t-shirt or hoodie or anything else, go to store.thesavetheworld.army, and there's free shipping for the next week or so. Thank you so much for your support. The Duchess says, war on drugs is only a war on the dealers, not lining politicians' pockets. Yes. See you, Spartacus. Good night, Duchess. Much love to all of you. I am Revolutionary Warrior #1, General of the Save the World Army, Smoking Joe McHale, and together we are beating the Illuminati, breaking the New World Order, bringing down the world government, and saving the world from evil. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for all your hard work every single day. The revolution is here, and we will be victorious. Woo! Yeah.